While looking for a Flutter job on LinkedIn, it is very likely that you'll see certain keywords that were put in the job descriptions. I'm talking about the design patterns like MVC, state management like Riverpod, and so on. That's why in this module, we are going to discuss some of the design patterns and some advanced state management tactics. Believe me, they will really come in handy. The question that you might ask now is when we actually need them. So let's say you are given a task to make a paper plane, and what happens is that you don't need much planning, you just make it. But what if you were given a task to build a passenger jet? In such a case, you would need to plan very meticulously every single detail of its design, and you would need to spend lots of time thinking about how to build it. And just like that, if you have a really small project, you don't need much planning. But if you have a very big and complex project, like making Amazon 2.0, you need lots of planning and a huge number of design patterns to code it. Everything really depends on the size and scale of the project. One of the most popular design patterns is the model view controller. The concept of the MVC design pattern is really simple. The model manages all the data. The view manages all the widgets that go onto the screen. And the controller accepts input and converts it to commands for the model or the view. Basically, the model view controller means the connection between the model, view, and the user. Now, let me introduce you to another design pattern called model view view model. I personally prefer using the MVVM pattern, but you should generally choose the design pattern based on the project you're working on. And when it comes to its components, the model contains all the data, the view contains the layout that shows on the screen, and the view model is the middleman which facilitates the communication between the model and the view. Now at this point, let me tell you a few things about the state management. So the next question you might want to ask is, why do we even need state management? Let me give you a quick example. Let's say we have a variable which will be used across different files. Whenever the state updates, it needs to update everywhere. To make it possible, we need to make use of the state management. Now, there are many types of state management, And the one you're gonna choose really depends on the project or on what your boss tells you to do. Nonetheless, one of the most used packages are Riverpod and Provider. I'm gonna give you a small demonstration of how they work in the upcoming videos. Moreover, we are going to use Riverpod and MVVM design pattern in the weather app module. Using state management and design patterns might mean that you have to write more code, but it's justified by how well organized your code becomes. Alright, you might also have heard the term mixins. If you still don't know what it is, don't worry, I'm gonna explain it right now. Let's say we have 3 classes named animals, cats, and dogs. Now, we want to access the elements of cats from the animals class. And to do that, we use the inheritance concept with the keyword extends. But what if we wanted to access the elements of both cats and dogs from the animals class? Of course, we wouldn't be able to do it, as it's possible to access only one class at a time with extends. To solve this issue, we have the mixins. Thanks to mixins, we are able to access the contents of both dogs and cats from the animals class. So basically, we can access only one class at a time with inheritance, but we can access as many classes as we want with mixins. Mixins use the keyword with. Also, remember that when you actually apply for a job as a Flutter developer, you need to know at least one state management package and one design pattern. And this course ensures that you have the required skills for applying for a Flutter job.